let's bring back Hashem Ahelbarra to the conversation for more analysis on the developments in this GCC crisis. We heard Sinem, our correspondent in Istanbul there, talk about this Turkish base and its significance. And a very important point she made is that this deal to set up this Turkish base in Qatar was made 2 years ago. So why are the UAE, Saudi Arabia and others demanding that they shut down this base now? What's the significance of this demand?
I think initially when they started the embargo against Qatar, the aim was to further isolate Qatar and then ask Qatar for major concessions. It turned out to be the opposite. The isolation paved the way for something new, a new geopolitical order in the region with, for example, Turkey setting up a base and deploying troops here in Qatar, something that would raise massive concerns for Saudi Arabia and for the United Arab Emirates. But the Qatari government has been saying this is an issue of national sovereignty. We can have deals the same way that you can have military deals with different countries. Now, if you look at the set of demands put by the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, there's a new development, which is Mohammed bin Salman taking over as the Crown Prince, and we know that he's the man with the ultimate say now in Saudi Arabia. Is he going to step in? This is a very critical moment for everyone in this part of the world. And critical moment also for Saudi Arabia, because the new Crown Prince faces massive challenges. War in Yemen, the biggest political crisis in the region in decades, and he has a vision for his own country. But you can't move forward unless you solve those problems. And I think he will come under massive pressure to try to solve this. If you don't, you will have new reality in this part of the world.
Will there be pressure from Washington, you think? We heard there the State Department spokeswoman talk about reasonable and actionable in relation to these demands made by Qatar. That was yesterday, of course, but we did hear at the beginning of the crisis a different tone from President Trump himself. What is going to be the U.S. reaction to these demands?
Well, the United States of America is divided over this issue. The White House has provided a blanket support for Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. The State Department and the Defense Ministry seem to be more balanced in their approach. However, they do understand that further escalation in the region is bad news for the United States of America in terms of the fight against ISIL in Iraq and in Syria. You cannot further alienate one of their biggest allies in the region, where you have one of the most important military base and forward operation, which is in Al Udeid base. So therefore, you have to contain this crisis. The problem is that if the crisis continues and the escalation keeps mounting, the potential for key players in the region to further step in is really very high, particularly Turkey and Iran. There is still a wiggle room for everyone to contain the crisis, but if one of them crosses the Rubicon, it's going to be the beginning of the end.
Okay, it's not boding well then, I think, from what you're saying there, Hashem. Thank you very much for that. Hashem Ahelbarra here in the studio with us.